Jake Morrison stood in the middle of the huge alien room. The ceiling stretched so high above him that he could barely see it. Around him sat creatures that looked nothing like humans. Some had scales, others had fur, and a few glowed with strange lights. These were the rulers of the galaxy, and they were not happy with Earth. The leader, a tall creature with purple skin and 4 arms, spoke in a voice that sounded like grinding metal. "Human Morrison, your species has been judged. You are too violent, too dangerous. You must give up your weapons and let us control your world." Jake looked around the room. He had been Earth's ambassador for 5 years now. He had seen these aliens destroy entire planets when they did not get their way. They called it keeping the peace. Jake called it murder. "What if we say no?" Jake asked. The purple alien made a sound that might have been laughter. "Then we will make you say yes. We have done this many times before. No species has ever refused us twice." Back in Earth's solar system, Lisa Hayes stood on the bridge of her ship. The USS Defiance was one of humanity's newest warships. It was not pretty like the alien ships. It was made of steel and looked like a floating brick. But Lisa loved it anyway. "Captain, we're getting reports from the outer planet," said her second-in-command, a young man named Pete Clark. "Civilian ships are asking if they should run." Lisa looked at the stars through the big window at the front of her bridge. Somewhere out there, Jake Morrison was probably being told that Earth had to surrender. Lisa had fought in 3 wars already. She was only 35 years old, but she felt much older. "Tell the civilians to stay calm," Lisa said, "but have them ready to leave fast if we give the word." Deep underground in Colorado, Alex Carter worked in a secret lab. He was a scientist, but not the kind who worked on peaceful things. Alex built weapons, very special weapons that most people did not know about. "How much longer?" asked his assistant, a woman named Betty Shaw. Alex wiped sweat from his forehead. 2 more hours. Maybe 3. The calculations have to be perfect. What Alex was building was called Project Prometheus. It was not a bomb or a gun. It was something much more dangerous. For the past 10 years, Alex and scientists like him had been placing special machines in space around Earth. The aliens thought they were just satellites for communication. They were wrong. Jake Morrison listened as the alien leader explained how things would work. Earth would give up all its weapons. Human ships would only be allowed to travel where the aliens said they could go. Any human who caused trouble would be taken away. "Your species is young," the alien said. "You do not understand how the galaxy works. We have kept peace for 1,000 years. We know what is best." Jake had heard this speech before. The aliens always talked about peace, but Jake had seen what happened to planets that refused to obey. The aliens would attack with thousands of ships. They would burn cities and kill millions of people. Then they would say they were sorry, but it was necessary for peace. "I need to talk to my government," Jake said. "You have one day," the alien replied. "Then you will give us your answer." Lisa Hayes received the message from Earth a few hours later. The government's orders were simple: prepare for war, but do not attack first. Lisa called her officers to a meeting. "The aliens want us to surrender," she told them. "They think we are too violent to be left alone." Her weapons officer, a man named Carl Brooks, laughed. "Too violent? We haven't started any wars with aliens. We've been trying to be peaceful for 50 years. "That's not how they see it," Lisa said. "They look at our history. All the wars we fought on Earth, all the weapons we built. They think we're dangerous." "Maybe we are," said her communications officer, a woman named Helen Ford. "Maybe that's not a bad thing." Alex Carter finished his work just as the sun was setting. Project Prometheus was ready. He called the president of Earth's government. "Sir, the system is online," Alex reported. "If the aliens attack, we can activate it." "Will it work?" the president asked. Alex looked at the computer screens around him. Numbers and equations filled every display. He had spent 15 years of his life working on this project. "Yes, sir. It will work. But once we use it, there's no going back. The aliens will never see us the same way again." The president was quiet for a long moment. "Alex, if they attack our world, they've already decided how they see us. Do what you have to do." Jake Morrison sent his message to the Alien Council the next morning. The answer was simple: no. The alien leader's face showed surprise. This had never happened before. Species that refused the Council's demands were always destroyed quickly. They never had time to prepare defenses or plan attacks. "You are making a mistake, human," the alien said. "We have 3,000 ships. We have weapons that can destroy stars. What do you have?" Jake smiled. It was not a happy smile. "We have something you've never seen before. We have humans who are tired of being told what to do." The Alien Council began preparing their fleet. They had done this many times before. Send the ships, destroy the defenses, kill enough people to make the survivors obey. It always worked. But as their ships gathered at the edge of human space, something felt different this time. The humans were not running away. They were not begging for mercy. They were waiting. Lisa Hayes stood on her bridge and watched the alien fleet appear on her screens. 3,000 ships, just like Jake had warned. Each one was bigger and more powerful than any human ship. "All ships, this is Captain Hayes," she said into her radio. "Remember what we're fighting for. Remember who we're protecting. And remember that sometimes the biggest enemy makes the biggest target." Alex Carter watched the alien fleet on his computers. His finger hovered over a red button that would activate Project Prometheus. Once he pushed it, everything would change. The aliens would learn what humans could do when they were pushed too far. The war was about to begin, and the aliens had no idea what they were really fighting against. The alien fleet came out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the solar system like a metal storm. 3,000 ships appeared in perfect formation, their hulls gleaming with strange lights. Each ship was twice the size of the largest human vessel, and their weapons could turn planets into dust. Ben Torres stood on the bridge of his flagship, the USS Liberty. He was the admiral in charge of all human space forces, and he was looking at the most terrifying sight any human had ever seen. His own fleet of 400 ships looked like toys next to the alien armada. "Sir, civilian evacuation ships are asking for instructions," reported his communications officer, a young woman named Amy Price. "Tell them to get as far from the outer planets as possible," Ben ordered, "and tell them to hurry." The alien ships moved forward slowly like predators who knew their prey could not escape. They had done this dance many times before with other species. Show overwhelming force, destroy a few military targets, and wait for surrender. It had never failed. Katie Walsh climbed into her fighter cockpit with hands that did not shake. She was 28 years old and had been flying combat missions since she was 20. Her squadron of 30 fighters was being sent to delay the alien advance near Jupiter's moons. "Listen up, people," Katie said over the radio to her pilots. "We're not here to win. We're here to buy time for the civilians to escape. Do whatever it takes." Her pilots knew what that meant. In human military training, there was a lesson that other species never learned. Sometimes the mission was more important than coming home alive. The first battle happened near Europa, one of Jupiter's moons. The alien ships fired their plasma weapons from long range, sending beams of pure energy that could cut through any human armor. Katie's fighters scattered like leaves in a windstorm, but they did not run away. "Fox Squadron, hit their lead ship," Katie shouted. "Don't worry about getting out alive." 3 human fighters dove straight at the largest alien vessel, firing their simple kinetic weapons. Chunks of metal traveling at incredible speed slammed into the alien ship's shields but did no real damage. The alien weapons destroyed all 3 fighters in seconds. But then something unexpected happened. The fighters' nuclear reactors, damaged by the alien fire, exploded in carefully timed bursts. The electromagnetic pulse from the explosions washed over the alien ships, and their advanced electronics began to malfunction. "What just happened?" asked the alien fleet commander, a creature with silver skin and 6 eyes. His ship's computers were showing error messages he had never seen before. "The human ship self-destructed," reported his weapons officer, "but they did it in a coordinated pattern. The electromagnetic feedback is interfering with our navigation systems." Katie Walsh watched from her fighter as the alien formation became confused. Their ships started bumping into each other as their guidance systems failed. She had lost 3 good pilots, but their sacrifice had worked. "All fighters, new target," Katie called. "Hit the command ship on the right flank." Same pattern. More human fighters dove at the aliens in suicide attacks. Each time they died, their nuclear reactors created electromagnetic pulses that caused more chaos in the alien fleet. What the aliens saw as desperate acts of a primitive species, humans called tactical nuclear scuttling. Ben Torres watched the battle reports from his flagship. His fighters were buying time, but at a terrible cost. Half of Katie's squadron was already gone, and the alien fleet was still advancing toward Earth. "Sir, message from Dr. Carter," Amy Price reported. "Project Prometheus is ready for activation." Ben looked at the tactical display showing the alien fleet's progress. They would reach Earth in 6 hours. Send a message to all human ships. Fall back to Earth orbit. It's time to show these aliens what we've really been preparing for. The alien fleet commander was puzzled by the human retreat. Usually, species fought harder as the enemy got closer to their home world. Humans seemed to be giving up just when the battle was getting serious. Pursue them, he ordered, but be careful. These humans are more clever than we expected. As the alien ships chased the retreating human fleet toward Earth, they began to notice something strange. Space around the human homeworld was filled with thousands of satellites and space stations, much more than any species needed for communication or defense. Carl Brooks, weapons officer on the USS Defiance, watched the aliens approach on his screens. Captain Hayes, they're taking the bait. The whole fleet is heading straight for Earth. Lisa Hayes nodded. She had been in space combat for 10 years, but she had never been part of a plan this big. Signal Dr. Carter, tell him it's time. Deep in his underground laboratory, Alex Carter received the message he had been waiting for. His finger moved to the red activation button he had been staring at for hours. Betty, are all the gravitational field generators online? He asked his assistant. Betty Shaw checked her computer screens. All 3,000 units reporting ready, sir. Generators around Earth, on the moon, on space stations, and hidden in asteroids throughout the inner solar system. Alex pressed the button. Suddenly, space around Earth became a nightmare for the alien fleet. Gravitational fields that should not exist began appearing and disappearing without warning. Ships that had been flying straight started spinning out of control as invisible forces grabbed them and twisted them in impossible directions. The alien fleet. Commander felt his ship lurch sideways as something pulled it toward a gravity. Well, that had not been there seconds before. What is happening? Where are these gravitational anomalies coming from? His science officer, a creature with tentacles for arms, was frantically checking sensors. Sir, the humans have somehow weaponized gravity itself. They have thousands of field generators creating artificial gravity wells throughout this region of space. The alien ships, designed for fighting in the empty vacuum of space, suddenly found themselves caught in a maze of gravitational traps. Their navigation computers, which relied on predictable physics, began giving impossible readings. Katie Walsh, now flying in Earth's gravitational maze with the surviving fighters from her squadron, found that her human-built navigation computer worked perfectly. Human scientists had designed it to account for the artificial gravity fields. This is Katie to all human ships, she called over the radio. The maze is active. We can fly through it, but the aliens are trapped. Time to show them what happens when you threaten our home. The human fleet, which had been retreating just minutes before, suddenly turned around and attacked. Human ships moved through the gravitational maze like they were swimming through familiar water, while alien vessels struggled against forces they could not understand or predict. Plasma beams from alien weapons missed their targets as gravity fields bent the energy in unexpected directions. Meanwhile, human kinetic weapons, simple chunks of metal, flew true because human computers could calculate the complex gravitational effects. The alien fleet commander realized he was facing something no species had ever encountered before, an enemy that had turned the space around their own planet into a weapon. All ships retreat to safe distance. We need to analyze this new technology. But as the alien ships tried to escape the gravitational maze, they discovered that leaving was much harder than entering had been. The human-controlled gravity fields formed walls and corridors that forced the aliens to fly exactly where humans wanted them to go. Ben Torres watched from the bridge of the USS Liberty as alien ships crashed into each other, spun helplessly through artificial gravity wells, and fired wildly at targets they could not properly track. Signal the alien fleet, Ben ordered. Tell them this is just the beginning. If they want to see what humans are really capable of, they should keep pushing us. The first phase of humanity's defense had worked perfectly. The aliens had expected a simple space battle. Instead, they found themselves fighting against the fundamental forces of the universe itself, controlled by a species they had thought was primitive. The alien fleet retreated beyond the gravitational maze, but they did not leave the solar system. The fleet commander sent a message back to the alien council. The humans have technology we do not understand. They have turned their home system into a fortress. We need reinforcements. The alien council was not used to receiving bad news. For 1,000 years, their fleets had swept across the galaxy, forcing every species to obey their will. Now, for the first time, they faced a species that had not only refused to surrender but had actually hurt their fleet. Council Prime Vextar, the purple-skinned leader, studied the reports from the human solar system. 300 ships damaged or destroyed. How is this possible? The humans have weaponized gravitational fields, reported his military advisor. They can create artificial gravity wells anywhere in their space. Our ships cannot navigate properly. Vextar's forearms moved in anger. Bring the second and third fleets. If humans want to fight, we will show them what real war looks like. While the aliens called for reinforcements, Alex Carter worked frantically in his laboratory. The first phase of Project Prometheus had worked, but he knew the aliens would return with more ships and better plans. Betty, how are the deep space generators? Alex asked his assistant. Betty Shaw looked at her computer screens with worry. Sir, we have gravitational field generators hidden throughout the galaxy, but activating all of them at once would be extreme. Alex nodded. He had spent 20 years preparing for this war, placing hidden generators on every human trading post, research station, and diplomatic outpost in alien space. The aliens thought humans had been exploring peacefully. They were wrong. Ryan Foster commanded Darwin Station, one of Earth's orbital defense platforms. From his position high above the planet, he could see the alien fleet gathering at the edge of the solar system. Thousands more ships had arrived, making the alien force even more massive. Sir, the aliens are testing our gravitational maze, reported his sensor officer, a woman named Grace Kim. They're sending small groups of ships to find safe paths through our defenses. Ryan watched as alien scout ships tried to navigate the maze of artificial gravity wells around Earth. Most of them got caught in gravitational traps and spun helplessly until human ships destroyed them, but a few were starting to find ways through. They're learning, Ryan said. Send a message to Dr. Carter. Tell him we need the next phase. On Earth's surface, Laura Kim coordinated humanity's ground-based defenses from a bunker deep beneath the Rocky Mountains. As a general, she had fought in wars on 3 different planets, but she had never seen anything like what the aliens were planning. Ma'am, intelligence reports that the aliens are bringing planet-killer weapons, reported her aide, a young officer named Tom Brady. They're not just trying to conquer us anymore. They want to destroy us completely. Laura looked at the tactical displays showing alien fleet movements. They're scared. For the first time in their history, they've met a species that fights back effectively. Scared enemies are the most dangerous kind. The second alien attack began 3 days later. This time, the aliens did not try to fly through the gravitational maze. Instead, they stayed at long range and fired massive energy weapons that could punch through planets. The energy beams slammed into Earth's gravitational fields and scattered in all directions. Some of the beams were bent back toward the alien fleet, damaging their own ships. Others were redirected harmlessly into empty space. The humans had turned their gravitational maze into a massive mirror that could redirect any attack. Impossible, shouted the alien fleet commander. How can they control gravity with such precision? His science officer was studying sensor readings with all 6 of his eyes. Sir, they have gravitational field generators everywhere, not just around their planet, but throughout their entire solar system. They've turned the space around their world into a gravitational laboratory. Lisa Hayes led her squadron of human ships through the maze in a counterattack against the alien fleet. The USS Defiance moved like a dancer through the gravitational fields, while alien ships that tried to follow were caught and crushed by artificial gravity wells. Target their command ships, Lisa ordered her weapons officer. If we can disrupt their coordination, their numerical advantage won't matter. Human kinetic weapons, guided by computers that understood the gravitational maze perfectly, struck alien command vessels with devastating accuracy. Meanwhile, alien return fire was scattered and weakened by the gravitational fields protecting human ships. The battle raged for hours, but slowly the aliens began to realize they were fighting a war. They could not win with conventional tactics. Every advantage they had relied on for centuries was useless against an enemy that could control the fundamental forces of physics. Fall back, ordered the alien fleet commander. We need to report this to the Council. But as the alien fleet tried to retreat, Alex Carter activated the second phase of Project Prometheus. Hidden gravitational field generators throughout the galaxy suddenly came online, creating a network of artificial gravity wells that stretched across hundreds of star systems. Steve Martinez, Earth's intelligence chief, watched from his command center as reports came in from across the galaxy. Human installations that had seemed like peaceful trading posts and research stations were revealing their true purpose. "Sir, all deep space generators are online," reported his communications officer, a woman named Jane Morris. "We now have gravitational control points in every major alien star system." Steve smiled grimly. For 50 years, humans had been spreading across the galaxy under the pretense of trade and exploration. In reality, they had been preparing for this exact moment, seeding weapons throughout alien space. The Alien Council received the reports with growing horror. Human installations across their empire had suddenly activated gravitational field generators powerful enough to disrupt planetary orbits. Entire star systems were now under human gravitational control. "How many systems are affected?" Vexter demanded. "All of them," his advisor replied with fear in his voice. "The humans have placed gravitational weapons in every corner of our empire. They can destabilize our planet's orbits whenever they choose." Jake Morrison, still on the Alien Council's homeworld as Earth's ambassador, watched the alien leaders panic with calm satisfaction. "Did you really think we spent 50 years just trading and making friends? We were preparing for the day you would try to destroy us." Vexatar turned his forearms toward Jake in rage. "You have placed weapons throughout our space. This is an act of war." Jake's expression did not change. "No, this is an act of defense. We placed these generators decades ago, long before you threatened us. We hoped we would never need to use them. The Alien Council was trapped. They could destroy Earth with their planet-killer weapons, but doing so would trigger automatic responses from gravitational generators throughout their empire. Hundreds of their worlds would be knocked out of stable orbits, creating a cascade of destruction that would eliminate their civilization." Laura Kim received a message from Alex Carter, informing her that all gravitational weapons were now under human control. "General, we can now affect the orbit of any planet in alien space. What are your orders?" Laura looked at the tactical display showing the massive alien fleet still surrounding Earth. "Send a demonstration. Pick an uninhabited planet in the alien empire and show them what we can do." Across the galaxy, human operators activated a gravitational field generator near an empty alien world. The planet's orbit shifted slightly, causing massive earthquakes and tidal waves. The message was clear. Humans could do this to any world in the alien empire. The Alien Council watched in horror as reports came in of the demonstration. One of their planets had been shaken like a toy, and the humans had done it from thousands of light years away. "They can destroy our entire civilization without firing a single shot," whispered. One council member, Jake Morrison, stood before the Alien Council and delivered humanity's ultimatum. "You wanted us to surrender because you thought we were too violent. You were right about one thing. We are violent, but we're also smart enough to prepare for this day decades in advance." The aliens realized they faced a terrible choice. They could attack Earth and destroy humanity, but in doing so they would trigger the destruction of their own empire. Or they could negotiate with a species that had just proven it could hold their entire civilization hostage. For the first time in their history, the Alien Council had met a species that was not only willing to fight back, but had been preparing for that fight longer than anyone had imagined. The Alien Council chamber was filled with fear for the first time in 1,000 years. Council Prime Vextar paced back and forth on his four legs, his purple skin turning darker with rage. Around him, the other council members spoke in worried whispers. "The humans have turned our own empire against us," said Zekron, a reptilian creature with scales that changed color based on his emotions. Right now, those scales were deep red with alarm. "They can destroy any of our worlds whenever they choose." Vextar stopped pacing and slammed one of his four fists on the council table. "Then we will use the stellar disruptor. If we cannot control these humans, we will eliminate them and their entire star system." The other council members fell silent. The stellar disruptor was their ultimate weapon, a device that could make stars explode. They had only used it 3 times in their history, always against species that threatened the council's power. Each time it had ended the threat completely. "That will kill billions of humans," said Morteth, a floating creature that looked like a jellyfish made of light. "And it will save trillions of our own people," Vextar replied. "If we do not stop these humans now, they will use their gravitational weapons to destroy every world in our empire." Steve Martinez sat in his intelligence center on Earth, listening to intercepted alien communications. His team of analysts worked around the clock to decode alien messages and understand their plans. "Sir, we've cracked their latest transmission," reported Sam Collins, his best codebreaker. "The aliens are planning to use something called a stellar disruptor on our sun." Steve felt ice form in his stomach. He had heard rumors of such weapons from other species that had encountered the aliens. "How long do we have?" "Based on their fleet movements, maybe 6 hours," Sam replied. "They're moving the weapon into position now." Steve immediately called Admiral Torres and Dr. Carter. "Gentlemen, the aliens are planning to blow up our sun. It's time for Protocol 7. Ben Torres received the message while commanding the human fleet from the bridge of the USS Liberty. Protocol 7 was humanity's final contingency plan, something they had hoped never to use. It would change the galaxy forever. "All ships, this is Admiral Torres," Ben announced over the fleet communication system. "Protocol 7 is now active. Send the message to every human installation in the galaxy." Across space, human operators received the same message at trading posts, research stations, and diplomatic outposts throughout the alien empire. Each installation contained a gravitational field generator powerful enough to destabilize entire star systems. Alex Carter activated the master control system from his laboratory on Earth. For the first time since the project began, all of humanity's hidden gravitational weapons were online simultaneously. The power consumption was enormous, requiring the output of dozens of nuclear reactors. "Betty, send the demonstration signal to the Alien Council," Alex ordered his assistant. Jake Sullivan commanded a small human outpost deep in alien territory, disguised as a simple trading station. He had lived among the aliens for 15 years, pretending to be a peaceful merchant while secretly maintaining one of humanity's most powerful gravitational weapons. When he received the Protocol 7 activation signal, Jake smiled grimly. "Computer, target the nearest uninhabited star system. Show them what we can do." The gravitational field generator hidden beneath Jake's trading post activated with tremendous power. Light years away, an entire star system began to shake as artificial gravity wells disrupted the orbital mechanics that had been stable for billions of years. The Alien Council watched in horror as their sensors detected massive gravitational disturbances throughout their empire. On hundreds of worlds, tidal forces increased dramatically. Ocean levels rose and fell by hundreds of feet. Earthquakes shook every planet in their space. "They're not just threatening individual planets," whispered Zekron, his scales now pure black with terror. "They can destabilize entire star systems." Vextar tried to maintain his authority. "We still have the stellar disruptor. We can destroy their sun before they destroy all of our worlds." But even as he spoke, reports came in from across the alien empire. Human installations were not randomly destroying things. They were demonstrating precise control, causing exactly enough disruption to show their power without actually killing anyone. Katie Walsh flew her fighter through the gravitational maze around Earth, coordinating with human ships across the galaxy. "All stations, this is Earth Control. Begin Phase 2 of the demonstration." Suddenly, every major alien world experienced the same phenomenon simultaneously. Their moons shifted slightly in their orbits, causing massive but non-lethal tidal effects. The message was unmistakable. Humans could control every aspect of gravitational force throughout the alien empire. Laura, Kim coordinated the demonstration from her command bunker on Earth. "All gravitational weapons are responding perfectly," she reported to Admiral Torres. "We now have effective control over every star system in alien space." The Alien Council realized the true scope of humanity's strategy. For 50 years, while they thought humans were exploring and trading peacefully, humanity had been seeding weapons throughout alien territory. Every human diplomat, every trader, every scientist had been part of a massive military operation. "How many weapons do they have?" Vextar demanded. His intelligence advisor checked the reports coming in from across their empire. "Over 10,000 gravitational field generators, sir. They're in every star system we control. Some planets have multiple generators hidden on their moons or in asteroid belts." Jake Morrison, still standing before the Alien Council, explained humanity's position calmly. "You wanted to judge us for being too violent, but you never understood what our violence really meant. We don't just fight to win battles. We fight to make sure that anyone who threatens us will never be able to do it again." The demonstrations continued for hours. Human operators showed they could create artificial eclipses, trigger controlled earthquakes, and even make small moons change their orbits, all without causing any permanent damage or loss of life. They're showing mercy, Morteth observed. They could kill all of us right now, but they're choosing not to. Vextar's rage was now mixed with fear. They're toying with us, showing us that our entire civilization exists only because they allow it to exist. Steve Martinez sent a final message to the Alien Council through Jake Morrison. You have 1 hour to stand down your stellar disruptor and withdraw your fleets. If you attempt to destroy our sun, we will respond by destabilizing every star in your empire simultaneously. The Alien Council faced an impossible decision. They could use their ultimate weapon to destroy humanity's home system, but doing so would trigger the automatic destruction of their entire civilization. Hundreds of stars would be destabilized, thousands of worlds would be knocked out of stable orbits, and trillions of aliens would die. What do we do? Asked Zekron. Vextar looked around the council chamber at the faces of creatures who had ruled the galaxy without challenge for a millennium. Now they were trapped by a species they had tried to dismiss as primitive and violent. We negotiate, he said finally. For the first time in our history, we negotiate. Alex Carter monitored the alien fleet's movements from his laboratory. The massive stellar disruptor was slowly changing course, moving away from attack position. They're backing down, he reported to Admiral Torres. But even as the immediate threat faded, everyone involved knew that the galaxy had changed forever. Humanity had revealed capabilities that no one had suspected. They had shown that they could hold the entire alien civilization hostage using weapons that had been hidden in plain sight for decades. The war was effectively over, but the real challenge was just beginning. Both species would have to learn how to coexist in a galaxy where the balance of power had shifted completely. The Alien Council chamber was silent, except for the soft humming of life support systems. For the first time in 1,000 years, the rulers of the galaxy did not know what to say. Council Prime Vextar sat heavily in his chair, his forearms hanging limply at his sides. Jake Morrison stood in the center of the chamber, no longer a prisoner or a supplicant, but an equal negotiator. The human ambassador looked tired but determined as he waited for the aliens to speak. How long? Vextar finally asked. How long have you been planning this? Jake considered the question carefully. We started placing gravitational generators 73 years ago, when the first human ship achieved faster-than-light travel. Every exploration mission, every trade expedition, every diplomatic contact was part of the plan. Zekron, the Reptilian Council member, made a sound that might have been admiration or horror. You have been preparing for war with us since before most of us knew you existed. We were preparing for the day you would try to destroy us, Jake corrected. We studied your history. We saw what happened to species that refused to obey your demands. We decided that would never happen to humanity. On Earth, Alex Carter was shutting down the gravitational weapons network piece by piece. The demonstration had worked perfectly, but maintaining that level of power consumption was draining energy reserves across human space. Betty, send stand-down orders to all installations, Alex instructed his assistant. Keep the weapons online but reduce power to minimum levels. Betty Shaw looked relieved as she sent the signals. Sir, some of the installations are asking if this means the war is over. Alex looked at his computer screens showing gravitational field readings from across the galaxy. The shooting has stopped. Whether the war is over depends on what happens in that Alien Council chamber. Lisa Hayes commanded her ship through the gravitational maze around Earth, leading patrols that watched the alien fleet. The massive enemy armada was still there, but their weapons were powered down and they had moved to a respectful distance. Captain, we're receiving a message from the alien fleet, reported her communications officer, Carl Brooks. What do they say? Lisa asked. Carl checked his translation computer. They're asking for permission to approach Earth peacefully. They want to send negotiators. Lisa thought about this for a moment. After days of fighting, the aliens were asking for permission to enter human space. Tell them they can send one ship, unarmed. And if they try anything, they'll learn why humans developed kinetic weapons. The alien negotiation ship was small and sleek, designed for diplomacy rather than war. As it approached Earth through the gravitational maze, its crew marveled at the precision with which humans controlled gravitational forces. How is this possible? Asked the ship's captain, a floating creature named Veltar. They can create gravitational fields more precise than anything we've ever seen. His science officer, studying sensor readings, shook his tentacled head. Sir, I think their approach to physics is fundamentally different from ours. We use technology to overpower natural forces. They use technology to work with natural forces. Back in the council chamber, Jake Morrison was explaining humanity's philosophy of warfare to increasingly amazed alien leaders. You build weapons to destroy your enemies, Jake said. We build weapons to make our enemies destroy themselves. You tried to use overwhelming force against us. We used your own physics against you. Mordeth, the jellyfish-like council member, pulsed with confused light patterns. But why did you not simply negotiate with us from the beginning? Why prepare for war if you desired peace? Jake's expression hardened. Because you don't negotiate with species you consider inferior. You give them ultimatums. You destroy anyone who refuses to obey. We've seen what you do to worlds that say no. Admiral Ben Torres received word that alien negotiators were approaching Earth. From the bridge of the USS Liberty, he coordinated humanity's response to the first peaceful alien contact in decades. Signal all ships, Ben ordered. Maintain defensive positions, but do not target the negotiation ship. Let's see if these aliens are capable of learning. Amy Price, his communications officer, looked up from her console. Sir, we're receiving messages from human installations across the galaxy. They're all asking the same question. What do we do now? Ben understood the question. Humanity had built the most powerful weapon in galactic history. But weapons were only useful if you were willing to use them. Now they had to decide what kind of galaxy they wanted to create. The alien negotiators met with human representatives on a space station in neutral territory between Earth and the alien fleet. The meeting room was designed to accommodate different types of life forms, with variable gravity and atmosphere controls. Jake Morrison led the human delegation, accompanied by General Laura Kim and Dr. Alex Carter. The alien delegation was led by Counselor Zekron, whose scales had settled to a nervous green color. We wish to understand, Zekron began. Your species could have destroyed our civilization, but you chose not to. Why? Laura Kim answered first. Because we're not you. We don't destroy entire civilizations just to prove we can. Alex Carter leaned forward in his chair. Our gravitational weapons were designed for defense, not conquest. We wanted to ensure that anyone who threatened humanity would face consequences, but we're not interested in ruling the galaxy. Zekron's scales shifted to a confused yellow. Then what do you want? Jake Morrison smiled. We want to be left alone to live our lives, explore the galaxy, and develop our civilization without interference. We want other species to have the same freedom. The negotiations continued for days. Slowly, a new structure began to emerge for galactic governance. The old council system, based on the dominance of advanced species over younger ones, would be replaced by a federation of equals. Each species gets one vote, regardless of how advanced their technology is, Jake explained. Decisions affecting multiple species must be agreed to by those species. No more ultimatums. No more forcing compliance through military power. Katie Walsh flew patrol missions around the negotiation station, watching both human and alien ships maintain careful distances. Her fighter squadron had started the war, and now they were helping to end it. Control, this is Katie, she radioed to the station. Both fleets are maintaining peaceful positions. No hostile movements detected. Steve Martinez monitored intelligence reports from across the galaxy. Human installations were reporting that alien military units were standing down throughout their empire. The message was spreading. The old way of doing things was over. Sir, we're getting reports of other species declaring independence from the Council, reported Jane Morris, his communications officer. Apparently, news of our gravitational weapons has inspired a lot of oppressed worlds. Steve nodded grimly. Humanity had not just defeated the Alien Council. They had broken the system that had kept the galaxy under control for a millennium. Now everyone would have to learn how to live in a galaxy where no one species could dominate all the others. The final agreement was signed on Earth, in the same United Nations building where humanity had first established its own global government centuries earlier. Representatives from dozens of species attended the ceremony. Creating the Galactic Federation. Council Prime Vextar, signing the treaty with obvious reluctance, looked at Jake Morrison with something that might have been respect. You have changed everything, human. The galaxy will never be the same. Jake nodded solemnly. That was the idea. Fear should never be the basis for peace. Mutual respect should be. Alex Carter stood on the observation deck of his laboratory, looking up at the stars through the transparent ceiling. The gravitational weapons network was still active, but now it served a different purpose. Instead of threatening destruction, it ensured that no species would ever again face the choice between submission and annihilation. "Will it work?" Betty Shaw asked, joining him at the window. Alex considered the question. "It will work as long as everyone remembers what happens when you push humans too far. We've shown the galaxy that peace isn't the absence of war. Peace is the presence of justice." Years later, historians would mark the conflict as the moment when galactic civilization truly began. The old empire based on domination and fear had ended. In its place grew a federation based on cooperation and mutual defense. The aliens had learned too late that humanity's greatest weapon was not their technology, but their refusal to accept that might makes right. They had discovered that humans would go to any length, prepare for any amount of time, and sacrifice anything necessary to protect their freedom and the freedom of others. In the archives of the new Galactic Federation, a warning was entered about humanity. Approach with respect. Their wrath can fill the skies and they never forget an injustice. The galaxy was vast and full of wonders, but now it knew that Earth's children would ensure that all species could explore those wonders in freedom.